Long before the world knew the name Bad Bunny, before sold-out stadiums, luxury fashion campaigns, and global streaming dominance, there was a quiet kid growing up in Vega Baja, Puerto Rico. His name was Benito Antonio Martínez Ocasio. Benito was born on March 10, 1994, into a lower-middle-class family. His father worked as a truck driver, spending long hours away from home. His mother was a schoolteacher who believed strongly in discipline, structure, and faith. They didn't have excess money, but they had stability, values, and culture. Vega Baja was not the glamorous image many people associate with Puerto Rico. It was a small town, far from the entertainment industry, far from major opportunities. Like many places on the island, it struggled with economic limitations and social challenges. But for Benito, it was home. From an early age, music surrounded him. Salsa and merengue played during family gatherings. Romantic pop ballads filled the house. Music wasn't treated as a career, it was simply part of daily life. As a child, Benito was introverted. He wasn't drawn to chaos or street life. He preferred staying inside, spending time with family, thinking quietly. While other kids dreamed of fame or money, Benito was still discovering who he was. He had no idea that one day, the world would know his voice. And at that moment, Bad Bunny didn't exist yet. Every Sunday, Benito attended church with his devout Catholic mother. Religion wasn't optional in the Martinez household. It was routine, community, and grounding. At church, Benito joined the choir. That choir became his first stage. Standing among others, learning harmonies, controlling his breathing, and singing in front of people shaped him in ways he wouldn't understand until much later. Without realizing it, he was training his ear and his confidence. He stayed in the choir until around age 13. Around that time, his musical curiosity began expanding beyond what he heard at home. Benito discovered reggaeton. Artists like Daddy Yankee, Tego Calderon, and Vico C showed him that music could be raw, aggressive, emotional, and real. At the same time, he listened to Hector Lavoe, Mark Anthony, rock bands, and even international pop like the Bee Gees. He didn't see music as genres. He saw it as feeling. This openness would later define his sound. Unpredictable, emotional, and impossible to label. Even his future stage name came from an accidental moment. As a child, he was forced to wear a bunny costume for a school event. There's a photo of him wearing it with a clearly annoyed expression. Years later, that image stuck in his mind. A bunny, something innocent, paired with anger and rebellion. Bad Bunny. It sounded ridiculous. It sounded memorable. It sounded perfect. As a teenager, Benito began writing lyrics privately. He freestyled with friends, experimented with beats, and recorded rough demos in his bedroom. There was no plan, no strategy. Music was simply his escape. After finishing high school, he enrolled in college to study audiovisual communications. But college didn't go well. He struggled academically, failed multiple classes, and felt disconnected. He didn't know where his life was going. To survive, he took a job bagging groceries at a supermarket. By day, he packed bags and helped customers. By night, he recorded music. His friends constantly encouraged him to post his songs online. Benito resisted. He didn't feel ready. His voice didn't sound like anyone else's. He thought it might be too strange, too soft, too emotional. Eventually, some early tracks were uploaded to SoundCloud. And something unexpected happened. People listened. Slowly, organically, a small following grew. His songs weren't polished. His delivery wasn't traditional. But they felt honest. Bad Bunny wasn't trying to be perfect. He was trying to be real. In 2016, one song changed everything. A track uploaded online caught attention far beyond what Benito expected. Suddenly, his phone was ringing. Producers, labels, industry figures. Some calls came while he was still working at the supermarket. This wasn't part of the plan. Instead of immediately signing a major record deal, Benito took a different approach. Alongside his manager, he focused on independence, singles, internet growth. No pressure to fit a commercial image. Then came Soy Pior. The song felt like a confession. It wasn't about power, money, or dominance. It was about heartbreak, insecurity, sadness, and pride. His voice cracked. His delivery felt vulnerable. Fans connected deeply. Bad Bunny became a symbol for people who didn't feel invincible. People who felt broken but honest. By 2017, collaborations exploded. His presence in Latin music grew impossible to ignore. But even as his fame increased, he refused to change himself. And his biggest statement was still ahead. In late 2018, Bad Bunny released his debut album, X100 The album didn't follow reggaeton rules. It blended Latin trap, rock, pop, alternative sounds, and emotional storytelling. It spoke about success, loneliness, confusion, fame, and mental health. Critics praised its originality. Fans felt represented. X100 wasn't just a debut album. It was a manifesto. It won major awards and proved that Bad Bunny wasn't a trend. He was a movement. At the same time, he openly challenged gender norms and traditional masculinity. He wore skirts, painted his nails, expressed vulnerability. He didn't separate his art from his beliefs. In 2019, he released Oasis with J Balvin, dominating charts worldwide. But Bad Bunny wasn't satisfied with commercial success alone. When political protests erupted in Puerto Rico, he joined them. He spoke out. He protested publicly. He used his platform to demand accountability. Music, for him, meant responsibility. Then the world changed. In 2020, the pandemic shut everything down. Tours disappeared. Concerts were canceled. The music industry froze. Many artists panicked. Bad Bunny created. He released YHLQMDLG, Yo Hago Lo Que Me De La Gana. The album felt chaotic, emotional, nostalgic, and rebellious. It ignored radio formulas and embraced authenticity. In the middle of global uncertainty, Bad Bunny became the most streamed artist in the world. Later that year, he released El Ultimo Tour del Mundo. With live audiences forbidden, he performed on a moving truck, driving through empty streets. The imagery felt symbolic, an artist performing even when no one could gather. The album debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200, the first all-Spanish album to ever do so. A historical barrier collapsed. When the COVID-19 pandemic hit in early 2020, the entire music industry came to a sudden stop. Tours were canceled, festivals disappeared overnight, and many artists were forced to slow down. But for Bad Bunny, the pandemic became a moment of creative explosion. Instead of waiting for things to go back to normal, he locked himself in the studio and focused on making music exactly the way he wanted, without pressure, without expectations, and without labels telling him what would sell. In May 2020, he released YHLQMDLG, an album that felt like a celebration of reggaeton's past, present, and future. The project debuted at #2 on the Billboard 200, the highest position ever achieved by an all-Spanish album at the time. The message was clear: Spanish-language music no longer needed validation from English-speaking markets. Just a few months later, in November 2020, Bad Bunny surprised everyone again by dropping El Ultimo Tour del Mundo. This album was darker, more experimental, and deeply emotional, reflecting isolation, uncertainty, and personal struggles during lockdown. And then history was made. El Ultimo Tour del Mundo debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200, the first all-Spanish album in history to do so. At that moment, Bad Bunny wasn't just a popular artist. He had become a symbol of cultural change. By 2021, Bad Bunny was officially the most streamed artist in the world, not just once, but year after year. Spotify crowned him the global #1 artist, proving that language was no longer a barrier. Authenticity was the new currency. Instead of following industry rules, Bad Bunny continued breaking them. He appeared on magazine covers wearing skirts, painted nails, and gender-fluid outfits, openly challenging traditional ideas of masculinity in Latin culture. He spoke out against homophobia, sexism, and violence, especially after tragedies in Puerto Rico and Latin America. This wasn't marketing. This was personal. In 2021, he also made a surprising move into professional wrestling, appearing in WWE events and even competing at WrestleMania. Once again, critics laughed, and once again, he proved them wrong. Whatever Bad Bunny touched, he fully committed to it. But 2022 would take his career to a level no one could ignore. As his musical influence grew, Bad Bunny expanded into acting and fashion. He appeared in major Hollywood productions, collaborated with luxury brands, and became a fashion icon known for ignoring gender norms. But what truly set him apart was how connected he remained to his roots. He constantly used his platform to speak about Puerto Rico, its struggles, its politics, its people. He criticized corruption, supported protests, and reminded the world that fame didn't erase responsibility. Bad Bunny wasn't trying to be a pop star. He was becoming a cultural voice. And by 2023 and 2024, his influence went far beyond charts and awards. By the mid-2020s, many artists who debuted around the same time had faded or struggled to reinvent themselves. Bad Bunny did the opposite. Each new project felt different, sonically, visually, emotionally. Some albums were experimental, others nostalgic, others confrontational. But they all had one thing in common: honesty. Even when critics were divided, fans stayed loyal. Because Bad Bunny never pretended to be something he wasn't. He grew up, and he allowed his audience to grow with him. Then came 2026. When Bad Bunny stepped onto the Super Bowl stage, it wasn't just another performance. It was a historic moment. A Puerto Rican artist, performing primarily in Spanish, on the biggest stage in American entertainment. For millions watching around the world, it was a reminder of how far music and culture had evolved. From a supermarket bagger uploading songs to SoundCloud, to the Super Bowl stage, Bad Bunny didn't just make history, he changed it.